Right, we've got our piston in a vise. As you can see, we use soft jaws or we use a cloth. Now we're going to install our rings. So here's our oil control ring. The important thing, we don't want all these gaps to line up, so we need to space them around the piston, but we don't want to space them in these areas here or directly in the thrust surfaces. So the book will tell you where to put them. I tend to like to put them on the corners. So you'll see I put one that way, I'll come around the back, put one on that corner, and then I'll come back this way and I'll put one on that corner, and they move nicely. Now the second ring, normally these rings are darker in colour, they've got a dot or a T on top of them. They're easy to break, so we have these little tools here which expand them, and we open them up just like that. Once again, try and keep the joints away from each other. We don't want them lining up. Our top ring, there we go, got the dot to the top. Once you've done a few of these, a lot of people just use their fingers, but these tools are there to be used and they work well. So there we go. So all our gaps, none of them are lining up. We're now going to just put a bit of oil around it. We don't need to go crazy, it just helps them slide down into the cylinder bore and gives them a bit of start-up lubrication. I'll just grab our piston ring compressor down here. So these things here, piston ring compressors, they will compress our piston rings. So we set them down, so we've got a bit of the piston showing out the bottom. We do it up quietly, just moving it around. And there it is on our piston, nice and tight. We're going to take our bottom bearing cap off. Remember, your pistons should be lined up in sequence to how you took them out. All of a sudden one doesn't want to come off. My luck, isn't it? So we'll just leave it with our number 4. A little bit of oil on the bearing. We haven't got the crankshaft in yet, so we don't have to use our protectors. We look at the piston and it says on the piston it has an arrow and the arrow's facing forward. So we're going to put it into the correct cylinder, line the arrow up, our little soft hammer, and we just going to rotate that on me, put the pin back in, holding it down firmly. We just the piston into the cylinder bore like so. Now don't keep pushing it or you'll push it down, the rings will expand, you'll never get it out. One of the problems with Hondas is we've got to put all our 4 pistons in before we put the crankshaft in. So you can have a break and I'll put the rest of the pistons in.